जय हरि बोल जय सीताराम गोपी गोपाल भजो राधे श्याम हरे राम 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 घन श्याम 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 नंद किशोरा नवनीत चोरा वृंदावन गोविंद लाला हरे राम 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 घन श्याम 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 जय हरि बोल जय सीताराम गोपी गोपाल भजो राधे श्याम.
Bravo! Sairam! Wonderful! Thank you for this really special treat. Sairam. Welcome to Souljourns and to a 3-generation family of followers of Holy Man Sri Satya Sai Baba. This video was recorded in a Cleveland suburb, Elyria, Ohio, in the summer of 2010. Indian classically trained singer Parvati Mahadevan, the matriarch of this Sai family, who by personal requests of Sai Baba, composed and sang devotional songs in Sai Baba's ashram, Vrindavan, beginning in 1971. And this is the story of Captain Guru IYER, Parvati's son-in-law, a military flyer who is destined to become Sai Baba's personal pilot.
Hare Ram 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 Ghana Sham 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 Jai Hari Bol Jai Sita Ram Gopi Gopal Bhajo Radhe Sham.
And shedding additional light on this woman who was personally guided by Sai Baba, her granddaughter Maya IYER of Anantapur College and Maya's husband Sunder IYER of Sai Baba's University and Parvati's daughter Mangala, all of whom are devoted to Sai Baba.
Hey Vishwanatha Jagannatha
Sai Ram.
Sai Ram.
I think her speciality in all her compositions are the bhajans are extremely short, 4-line bhajans, just names of God and adjectives describing. None of them pertaining to, it's not like I'm in distress, help me out, none of those. Lord, you're great, you're merciful, you're loving, you're kind. All are just pure adjectives in pure Sanskrit and pure classical. That's the beauty of her bhajans. It's just fantastic.
And you were saying that Baba writes through her?
She feels that way. I'm one of her first students in classical music. She brought me to Baba.
You're one of her first children.
But I am her first daughter, yes. And one of
so
her
you would be her first student, not one of them.
That's right. And I enjoyed growing up with her with classical music. And it became a part of our life together as mother and daughter. Music is our bond, our very strong bond. And though I didn't rise up to her aspirations of becoming a professional musician as she hoped I would be one day, she's very happy today that I've become a Baba bhajan singer. And she's trained me for that. She brought us to Baba. She brought my husband and me to Baba.
Seems to me you're pretty good on the harmonium as well.
Oh, well, she's taught me that too. And the nicest thing about her teaching is that she's a tough taskmaster like Swami.
Tough cookie, huh?
A tough cookie. She will not give up on you. She will not give up on a student. And much as I would,
if you had a voice like mine.
Well, even if I wanted to run away, she would be there saying, "You can do it. You can do it." And she'd wake you up at all odd hours of the morning to say, "Practice makes perfect, and you need to do it." And she's disciplinarian, at the same time very, very loving and kind and very encouraging, and understanding of the student's need. And she's been, for me, Ted, 35 years I didn't sing classical music because I was living a life in the Air Force, in the Indian Air Force, in a military setup where nobody really wanted classical music. They'd want something which you could bang folks on. And I felt initially a little depressed about it, that my music was really not going where it should be. But then strangely, once Baba came into our lives and bhajan singing happened, regardless of where we were posted in the Indian Air Force, there was always a samiti, there was always Sai devotees, and there was always bhajan. And Mami's bhajans for me have been extremely, they've helped me go within. Her bhajans have helped me realize my spirituality. She's done that for me.
Nothing more that can be said that would really
You know.
indicate how powerful a devotional singing can be.
Yes.
And Sundar, I wanted to ask you, you know a little about music, I would say. You're one of the best singers here in Cleveland, Ohio, I think I've ever been around.
Sit among the blind, the squint is a king, right?
Characterize her music for us, if you will.
Her music comes from the heart and goes to the heart. Straight. It's heart-to-heart communication, as Baba would put it. It's purely based on classical music, which is the richest tradition that India has to offer. And her music is the window to the soul. That's what I would say.
You've got a couple of fans here in this area as well.
Yes.
Including a beautiful granddaughter whom we haven't heard from yet. How would you characterize this singing?
It's simple and easy to learn. I don't sing, but I love her bhajans because they're just so simple. You know, though they are based on classical music, they don't have all the complicated turns and twists which a lot of other bhajans have. So
But
that's
you're
why I
right,
love them.
because I'm in the same boat with you in that I don't sing either.
Right.
But because I guess it is of the simplicity and the beauty, if I were to sing, I would be singing some of these bhajans. I think.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah. So maybe
That's
we
where I
would
like
be good
So
students.
we would
of
be
your
good
grandmother.
students. Yes, Ted.
Where do we go to sign up?
Right here.
Right here. She's going to stay here.
Parvati Mahadevan, it's such a pleasure to be with you today. I understand, I heard through the grapevine that you're 84 years old? You don't look 84 years old.
Oh, that's very kind of you.
And that puts you in Baba's territory. He's almost your exact age by about 6 months or so. You're a little bit younger. If you will, because I've heard so many wonderful stories about you, tell us how you first came to be aware of spirituality. And then I'm going to ask you how you became aware of Sai Baba. Were you always spiritual from the time you were born?
Yes, I was born in a very spiritual family.
And what type of a religion did you grow up practicing? Were you born into a
Brahmin family.
Okay. A Hindu family. And how long was it before you first heard the name that you can remember, Sri Satya Sai Baba, Bhagavan Sri Satya Sai Baba? How old were you? Do you remember?
No, it was 30 years ago. I was a singer, classical singer
Classical singer in your city. And what city are you from?
from Madras.
So you sang there professionally?
Yes,
For how many years?
many years I have sung.
So how did it come to be then that as a classical singer, you got to come to meet Baba either in Vrindavan or Prashanti Nilayam?
In 1971, war broke out. And all of you know, my son-in-law, Captain IYER, is a fighter pilot. And then the war was very tough. That time I didn't hear anything from.
So you were quite concerned.
Yes, naturally. And then I was so worried, I tell you.
And what happened?
That time, a friend of mine who was working in Sai Baba's hospital in Bangalore, and I expressed my tension. She told me, don't worry, we'll go to Sai Baba.
Did you know who that was when she said Sai Baba?
Yes, she told me. That is how I was introduced.
Okay. And had you been aware before that of Shirdi Sai Baba or just Satya Sai Baba?
Then, of course, I came to know that I was with Shirdi also.
Afterwards. So did you go with her right away or to see?
I went because my tension was so high. Somehow I want to get the release.
And did you get that release?
Naturally, when he came out, looked at me and he smiled. I said, Swami, my children are right in front and I'm worried. He said, don't worry, they are all safe. You will hear from them.
You must have been very, very happy.
You have no idea as to what tension he removed from me.
And he was brand new to you. You were brand new to him. Did you believe him?
Yes,
So that means you have a very long spiritual background to...
yes, I did have.
Yeah. So what happened after that then? How long was it before you heard from them?
The very night I heard from them.
Really? That quickly? So what about your friend? Was she must have been very impressed.
Very, very happy. She said, I told you, auntie, that he is omnipresent.
So was it like from that day forward that you became a Baba devotee, or was it a little bit longer?
It wasn't very difficult for me to become a devotee because I knew that he had supernatural powers to study our mind.
Well, it's one thing to be told that, it's one thing to read about that, but it's another thing to come to believe it. How long did it take for you to believe it?
The very fact that he told me about my children's safety, and that night I got the telephone call.
That's pretty good proof, isn't it?
Yes, very.
So how long, do you remember how long you stayed? This is in Puttaparthi, right?
No, in Vrindavan.
Vrindavan, so you were outside of Bangalore. Did you stay there for just one darshan, for one day?
No, I was close to Vrindavan because my husband was in the Indian telephone industries and we were living in Whitefield.
So you had a very easy journey to make because he was in the same area of Whitefield. But you had never been there before. You never had a reason to go.
No,
there. Never had.
I was so busy in keeping the house and I was performing and I also taught music to
So
the
this-
youngsters who came.
So this was 1971.
Yes.
And can you venture a guess as to how many times since 1971 until today, 2010, you may have had Baba's darshan?
Almost every day I used to go after that.
Almost. Oh, so you stayed there. So you did your work and you had your students, and then you would go later in the day to receive Baba's darshan. So you must have developed a very strong feeling for
Yes, very strong.
And I understand also that you developed more and more your wonderful God-given gift of music and talent as a classical trained singer.
And one of those days I heard some ladies singing for him, bhajans.
And what did that cause you to think about?
I felt, why not I also be there?
And so did you join them?
Then they told me, when I wanted to join, they said, unless you get direct permission from Baba, you cannot sing before him.
That sounds pretty hard to do. What did you do?
Again, next day when I sat for darshan, I asked him, can I sing? He said, oh, happily.
Did he know how good of a singer you were? Did you audition for him? Did you give him a little sample?
No, he knew very well. He knows everything, you know.
Yes. So you were singing back in the early 70s for All India Radio with other people singing Indian traditional classical music.
Yes.
Yes. And how long was it then after he gave you permission where you started to work?
Very next bhajan, I joined those ladies and I started singing.
Were these bhajans familiar to you? Were you raised singing these bhajans?
That is the greatness. Then, you know, he blessed me to compose.
Oh, so that's when you started to compose, right at the very beginning when you started to sing with these ladies.
PRabhat, I understand I can call you PRabhat, your name, or Captain IYER, or Guru. I think I'll call you Guru, even though you're probably younger than me.
Yes.
You actually were the first pilot to fly Sai Baba. Briefly, a word on that.
When Puttaparthi airport was constructed, every airfield has to be approved by the Director General of Civil Aviation, the authority. So for that you have to have somebody going there and actually landing and then submitting a report. So I had the opportunity, I was